Hey everyone, this is Adam at KreatureKid, and welcome to this episode where we're going to talk about the Elegoo Jupiter SE, as well as the Elegoo Saturn, and also the Form 3s from Formlabs. Elegoo was kind enough to send us a Jupiter SE to review, so let's unbox that and take a look at what we get.
We're going to start by taking the printer out of the box. How do you do this? Okay, so looks like this comes off. Oh yeah, that's totally what it is. Okay. That's interesting. You just take the lid off? You just slide it on and off every time? I guess so. So you probably read the instructions now. That's weird. Interesting. So the bottle of resin just sits on the outside of the printer. Huh. All right, so looking at this printer already, I could tell I probably need to watch a video on how to put this together. Lots of parts, lots of things to screw on. It looks like there's screws already, right? So it's throwing me off.
I kind of want to talk about the pros and cons that I'm finding out with the Elegoo printers, Jupiter SE specifically, and also the pros and cons with the Form 3, and kind of like almost a comparison of the two.
So when I first started getting into the 3D printing game, I just jumped right on when Formlabs launched their Form 3. The printer has been incredible so far. This was actually my second one that I got. During COVID, I was doing all my 3D printing at home. So I was printing toy products that I was selling online, prototypes, stand-in prototypes for movies for Chip and Dale and Night Books, as a basically 3D printer for hire, right? And all that was done on one Form 3 3D printer. So I really liked those printers a lot. But as time's been going on, the cost of their resin has been insane. And the quality of prints, in my opinion, isn't any better from what I've been seeing companies like Elegoo do with their printers at a fraction of the cost. As well as just customer service, I was having a heck of a time because my printers were getting so old. It's just started turning into more of a headache to 3D print stuff on the Formlabs machines. I was getting ready to do the shift of, I gotta figure something else out that's as good a quality but more affordable because I'm seeing the options out there. We started with getting the Elegoo Saturn, and then we just recently got sent the Elegoo Jupiter, which is the one I've really been excited to try because the quality of the prints as being cost effective is such a bonus. I mean, you can't really compare with that kind of cost just for resin alone. I will probably have to watch an introduction video on how to get this assembled. I knew getting into these kind of printers was a bit more hands-on than just this, right? Let's get this plugged in. Let's pour some resin in there.
So we have the Jupiter SE plugged in, turned on. I had to watch a video tutorial to kind of help me out because I haven't done this before. The instructions, definitely not the most detailed instructions, so I think you have to watch a video. Even just like attaching the handles onto the lid, they just give you a baggie of assorted nuts and bolts and hex keys. So it's just like a matter of like finding which one fits, as opposed to like IKEA instructions where it says like, these button heads are for that handle, you know? The resin feeding module is interesting. That plugs in USB, hex nuts in there, lock in on both corners, and you attach this bottle cap, essentially, and that's what distributes more resin when you need it, but also sucks it up and puts it back in the bottle. That's cool. That's something that Formlabs stuff never did. I still need to kind of figure out the difference of how Formlabs works, where it's a specific resin tank for each type of resin you use. You never clean it out. You just pour your resin in, and then you're just always switching resin tanks, essentially. If the resin starts getting low, and if you don't want to spend any more money on that resin, then what's left is just trash, or you dump it in, like, it's just kind of shot, right? And these also have a shelf life because the resin's living in there. So you do have to start, even this one, right? It's saying the tank's starting to go bad. There's so many hours that the resin's been sitting in there, and it forces you to have to buy a new one, which the tanks are over $100. They're crazy expensive. So with these printers, what my understanding is that you can extract the resin from this, which is what this thing does, pours it back into the bottle, and then you have to clean the tank out in order to swap a new resin in. But at least you're always working with one tank. Not like you'll never have a shelf of tanks like I do with the Formlabs. I have a shelf of 6 different resin tanks. It's a little wasteful, in my opinion. Now the next step, from what I understand, is pour the resin in. There's a little max level mark right here. This is so wild. You just have to dump this lid in place. Huh. I don't mind it. Interesting though. We'll just hit the print button. All right, so it's now starting our test print. I guess we'll see how this print turns out. It says this test will take 3 hours to do. So hopefully it works.
We've only been working with the Jupiter SE and just the Elegoo printers for a short amount of time. And in that amount of time, I mean, obviously they're incredible printers. The size you could print in, the speed you could print in, the quality, just the affordability. I've been exploring different avenues for 3D printers for a while. I had purchased the Saturn, and it's incredible. The print quality is incredible. The speed's amazing. I would say quality is easily comparable to the Formlabs printers, but a fraction of the cost. Their user interface, I'm just using the Chichu box. I had a really hard time with that. That was a big learning curve for me because Formlabs is just like green thumbs up if it's good, red thumbs down if it doesn't work. With Chichu box, a lot of numbers punching in. Like I wasn't having print stick to the bed. Why not? Oh, you have to adjust the exposure settings. I had no clue about that. I knew nothing about that. I had to watch videos, I had to read blogs, and it's just kind of like, oh, it's like a learning curve, right? I was expecting a less user-friendly machine because it is more like adaptable for, well, you could play with your settings. Elegoo also sent us the wash and cure combo. It's like a 2-in-1, so you need to have like your wash station set up and then remove it to have it set up for curing with the UV. So I just have it as a UV cure. I'm using the Formlabs washing stations because I already have it set up. It's already full of alcohol, so I'm just washing all my prints in there. The difference in how to cure these resins too. With the Formlabs, you're putting your printers in a heat box and it's heating up. It's taking 40 minutes to cure in UV and it's rotating. The Elegoo stuff, you really just put your print in and it UV cures for, I guess, a couple minutes, 2-3 minutes, and that's it. What concerns me with that is, are these resins gonna last? If they're sensitive to heat, is that gonna be weird? Or if they're exposed to UV, even with paint on it, is that an issue? I haven't had enough time to play with the longevity of the resins, and they're all great. The ABS light's very strong, right? The gray seems pretty sturdy and durable and really nice resolution. But I don't know how their lifespans are over 10, 15 years because we make things here that have to last, right? With the Formlabs, a big project we've been working on for a long time is the Gravity Falls diorama. This piece was 100% printed on the Formlabs printers in parts, piecing it together over time, different types of resins, gray resin, model resin. All the figures are printed on tough 1500 resin. This stuff is incredible. We're printing the tiniest little figurines and they are not brittle. They're flexible. There's no break. We've dropped them. They don't break. I have tried with a couple different types of resins on the Saturn, which is just as good a quality, faster print, but every resin's brittle. I mean, they snap. And I've yet to find a resin as durable as the Tough, and also know that it's okay with heat, it's okay with the UV, because those are the settings to cure the Formlabs resins. It's experimenting. It's getting used to the materials, finding the right resins that I like. We just haven't had the time to explore different resins. What's so wonderful about the Elegoo resins and printers is that the resins are affordable. You can buy a jug of this resin, a jug of that resin, and try them out and see which ones work better for what the final piece is supposed to be. We also had an issue with the gray standard resin with Elegoo. We had printed large molds on the Jupiter SE. They came out awesome, but that type of resin has an issue with platinum silicones. It would just inhibit the platinum. Even brushing down coats of Inhibit X all over the molds still would inhibit that silicone. But we've printed on standard gray resin with Formlabs resins, and that's fine with platinum silicone. So there's weird stuff going on with the resins. So I'm still learning that. I'm still early to the Elegoo game, but I've been extremely impressed by their quality and speed and build size. I mean, the Jupiter SE has a huge build platform. I could print giant stuff fast, and I could see it being extremely useful for printing out our prototypes to then be molded out of tin silicone and cast in hard materials. John Abbott's pistol was fully 3D printed on the Jupiter SE, and it came out beautifully. This would have been a fortune to print on the Formlabs printer and in more little tiny sections. All of the teeth for the Pizza Pug were printed on the Jupiter SE, and those were just printed, painted, primed, and glued into our final puppet, and they worked beautifully. So there's a lot of advantages of the Elegoo printers, but I'm still having to dip my toes into the Formlabs stuff for what I know works and what I use that for. I hope you guys find this video useful. Obviously, I'm still working out the kinks and getting used to these printers and kind of having them in the workflow. So far, I've been really impressed. And I highly recommend anyone who's trying to start out getting into 3D printing and resin. I mean, obviously, this is the go-to. Their stuff's incredible. It's affordable. Formlabs, no way. Honestly, Formlabs is becoming really just like expertise, like industry, like dental work and stuff like that. I would say they're completely severing their hobbyist demographic, but that's totally fine because I feel like what I'm seeing come out of these printers, the Saturn and the Jupiter SE, is exactly what we needed here at KreatureKid, and I cannot wait to keep on using these more and getting used to all the different types of resins and kind of the best things for different projects. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Also, if you have any recommendations for different types of resins that I should get into, or if there's something I'm missing here, please give me your 2 cents. I would love to hear it. So thank you guys for watching.